So, Paige Bueckers' debut, it wasn't that good, not gonna lie, not that good.
For each other, and that's our connection. And we're so connected that way, and that doesn't mean it's great all the time. We have hard conversations, we have tears, we have disagreements. That's actually normal in a relationship, isn't it? Like, it's normal to have disagreements. It's normal to be frustrated with each other. It's normal. Like, that's a part of it. Conflict's a part of it. And so we work through it together, and we're willing to sit in.
After 5 months away from basketball, Caitlin Clark recently went back into the Team USA camp. And what occurred next has everyone talking. Following a season marred by injuries that had many wondering whether she would ever fully recover, Clark arrived and reminded everyone of her unique qualities. Paige Bueckers simply faded into the background of Clark's recovery tale amid all of this turmoil. Clark just asked, "Who do you believe should make the ultimate Team USA roster for 2026? Before we get into this complete workshop. After what we just saw, some people's expectations are going to be crushed, so share your predictions in the comment section." After witnessing Caitlin Clark's first practice back with Team USA, Coach Carl Lawson made a statement. "That seems rather easy. She was attractive from head to toe. You haven't been paying attention, though, if you believe that's the only aspect of this story. Clark was more than simply a pretty face. She utterly crushed everyone in that camp, even those who believed they were entering as genuine rivals for squad places. These two are starting together, and there's nothing you can do about it," exclaimed Sue Bird, managing director of USA Basketball, as she watched Clark push tempos, drain three-pointers from ridiculous distances, and develop chemistry with Aaliyah Boston. Clark just demonstrated that she is fully recovered and prepared to lead the USA to gold in 2026 after a season in which injuries kept coming up and keeping her off the court. And this is what no one is actually discussing loudly enough. Not only did Clark return in good health, she returned stronger, more determined, more focused, and fiercer to prove to everyone that her injury issues during her second season were a passing blip rather than a turning point in her career.
Every single point being scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in a 4.5-minute spell to make a game, to go from down 5 to up 13. Like that, well, basically it was down 15 to up 10 against Phoenix Mercury last year, where every single basket, other than one, was either scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in what was the craziest game of her career. Where it's funny, if you look back on that game, I think she had 15 points and 13 assists, and on 4 of 15 shooting. People were just like, "Oh, this was a terrible game."
The context is important, so let's go back a bit. Clark set 62 records in her first season in the WNBA. 62. She nailed half-court shots that made defenders reevaluate their life decisions, notched triple-doubles, and essentially upended the league with her amazing play. After that, things took a turn for the worse during her second season. One injury triggered another, which triggered still another. Clark's statement, "I think the challenge for myself was that it was one, and then it's like a little better, but then it continued to compound and get worse and other things pop up," aptly captured the horror. It was difficult for the woman who had altered the record books to remain on the court. During the season, she played in just 13 games. The basketball community began to whisper 13 games after she broke 62 records in her debut year. Is she going to return from this? Would the injuries continue to accumulate? Was her amazing first season a one-time event? Clark had been away from the game that made her renowned for about 5 months when she arrived at Team USA camp, having not played competitive basketball in that time.
Clark is going against Paige and Dejanay. ESPN today, they were talking about Paige. One of them says, "I think Paige will be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and that's an unfair bar to set." Dallas Wings using the promo poster of Paige.
There were huge stakes involved. This practice session wasn't your typical one. She was trying out for the 2026 World Cup squad and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Her initial impressions captured the attention of every coach, analyst, and photographer. Did she still have the same movement as the player who set all those records? After all this time, will the rest show? Clark acknowledged that she was anxious as she entered the camp. She subsequently disclosed, "I think I felt quite comfortable when I touched the basketball to start warming up before the practice even started." Comfortable, however, is not even close to describing what transpired next. After declaring herself completely healthy, Clark made the most forceful possible demonstration of her health on the court. There was that familiar swish as her shots dropped. As if she had GPS tracking on each teammate, her passes found their targets. She appeared to have sharper court vision than before the injuries, if not better. She accelerated the pace like the Clark that everyone knew, setting up quick breaks and putting teammates in advantageous positions. In those 13 healthy games, the woman averaged 16.5 points and 8.8 assists, and she appeared to be totally locked in. Coach Carl Lawson couldn't contain her awe as she observed Clark at work. One analyst made an important observation. She appears to have regained her speed. And that's everything, not just significant. During her second season, Clark never fully healed from her quad injury in preseason, which affected her speed. She was, however, cutting corners on dribble handoffs during Team USA camp as if she had rocket boosters attached. Defenders were scrambling as she was descending with purpose and intent. On the second day, there was a single play that summed up everything that makes Clark unique. Aaliyah Boston gives her a dribble handoff, and she turns the corner with incredible speed before cutting to the basket with a flawless ball to Jackie Young. The pass itself was a fantastic move, but Young missed the layup that occurred. Everyone who watched could see how happy Clark was. She stated, "I just wanted to have fun and smile today." And during practice, she never stopped smiling. She regained her confidence, her health, and her game. The instant Clark demonstrated that she was fully recovered, the dynamics at Team USA camp completely changed.
Player needs it. That's another level of facilitating. That's why we say, man, Caitlin Clark is the top guard, man. All right, y'all start the conversation in the chat, but I'm just saying, Chelsea Gray is a very entertaining passer. All right, very entertaining. Sometimes her flashiness kind of make her throw the ball away and things of that nature, but Caitlin Clark knows how to get that thing in tough spots. All right, get it in tough spots. And get her teammates open, get it to where the teammate can catch the ball and just pull it in a comfortable style. All that is a part of facilitating, man. All right, so
let's now discuss what is folks talking. The relationship between Aaliyah Boston and Clark. Sue Bird and the entire coaching staff felt they were witnessing something extraordinary during a workout. In an almost physics-defying pass, Clark found Boston cutting to the basket. Boston needed the ball, and it came at the right time and place. When she concluded the play, Boston grinned. Clark returned the smile. Just now, the two Indiana Fever teammates demonstrated to Team USA what great camaraderie looks like. The problem with developing team chemistry is this. In a camp, it typically takes weeks or months. It takes time for players to become familiar with one another's timing, inclinations, and favorite areas on the court. The majority of guards have trouble finding large men in traffic or making passes at the proper pace. However, Boston and Clark were already intimately familiar with one another's games. They had played with the Fever for a whole season, learning how to read one another's moves and set up scoring opportunities. Within minutes, coaches could see their connection. After grabbing a defensive rebound, Clark would quickly pick up the pace, running down the court and looking for Boston. Clark would thread passes past defenders that other guards couldn't even see as Boston took up position in the post. The moment was ideal. It was perfectly executed. Clark knew exactly where Boston wanted the ball, and Boston knew exactly where Clark's passes would end up. One analyst provided a perfect breakdown. Caitlin is aware of when to do this and when not to. She is unique because of that. What sets Clark apart from other guards is this. Defenses must show respect even if her shot isn't falling. She missed a couple shots, but that doesn't mean they can just let her go. The entire defense is made possible by the gravity she possesses. Defenses scramble when she collects a rebound and advances the floor at that pace. Everyone's concerned about Clark's three-point shooting, but suddenly there's an open Aaliyah Boston in the corner.
That all the players play well, but France are just a little bit better in the World Cup. I'm not going to hate watch Team USA, but I do hope that the other teams they're playing are just better. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if you are actually supporting Team USA, you would hope the two of them play together, because the two of Paige and Caitlin play together, because that's what's going to help them win. And is Caitlin going to be the best player at this camp? If Caitlin's the best player at this camp, there's something seriously wrong with the level of women's basketball. Like, if a player who has basically been injured for a year shows up and is the best player at their first training camp, because let's be real, you're not going to, if a player takes players weeks, if not months.
Even more striking were the pace shifts. Before defenses could set up, Clark snatched rebounds and accelerated the pace, setting up fast break opportunities. Boston knew that Clark would reward her hard work with baskets, so she ran the court hard. Knowing that Clark would catch them if they got open, other players began to chase after them, running down the floor. Everyone's performance, not just Boston's, was improved by Clark's playmaking. The coaching crew nodded in agreement as she discovered Jackie Young cutting for a layup. Young was able to finish without losing momentum since the pass came precisely into stride. Young and Clark displayed the same smooth backcourt chemistry that might support Team USA's starting lineup for many years to come. We're all thinking the same thing, which one analyst anticipated. Over the next few years, I anticipate seeing them perform incredibly well off one another while wearing Team USA uniforms. Jackie Young would flourish playing with Caitlin Clark since she is capable of doing nearly everything on the court. The good vibes between Boston and Clark were contagious. Throughout practice, they grinned, obviously enjoying playing together once more. Their comfort level translated into confidence, which they then shared with their comrades. Because they trusted Clark to reward smart movement with accurate passes, other players began to create better screens and make tougher cuts. With increasing excitement, Sue Bird and the coaching staff observed this chemistry develop. It takes time for most point guards to establish these connections. Clark was rapidly creating new ones with players like Young and had already had them constructed with Boston. As practice went on, it became clear who would start at point guard. The coaches were observing a player break away from the group as everyone discussed a competition for roster positions.
Most of us want adversity to go really quickly, like, okay, it'll be tough for a half a day, and then we're done. And this has been tough for longer for us. Good. Good. Because this is what life is about. Like, you don't get to control the length of your adversity. All you get to do is control your attitude and your focus and just work like heck to try and change it.
Before going into camp, the story was straightforward. There would be competition among players for the few available positions on the 2026 World Cup roster. It was expected to be a strong competition. Everyone anticipated fierce competition and challenging choices for the coaching staff. Angel re-expressed how important it was for everyone to be on the team. Everyone aspires to join the team. Being in this camp at all is an honor. They didn't choose us arbitrarily. They believed we would contribute anything, so they handpicked us. The pressure was real, she said. Every player was aware that their berth was not assured. Clark was acutely aware of the stakes. Everyone wants to win. All of you are vying for a position, she acknowledged. However, her strategy on the second day gave the impression that the duel was entirely one-sided. During practice, analysts said Clark was on fire, and that judgment accurately reflected the situation. She regularly made knockout threes. Other players missed scoring opportunities because of her exceptional eyesight. Under pressure, her decision-making appeared perfect. It was soon clear what certain skills set Clark apart. Despite defenders closing up hard, she made three-pointers from NBA range. She was able to thread passes through traffic with her court vision, which helped teammates make easy baskets. Clark was correct in every possession. Set an offense, fast break, or pass or shoot. She had a terrific read on the game. Other participants concentrated on showcasing their respective skills through performances. Clark did the exact opposite. She improved the appearance of everyone around her. Clark rewarded teammates with flawless passes when they made nice cuts. Clark was able to engage them in the offense when they set good screens. In a situation when most players had to establish themselves, her team-first mindset shone out. During practice sessions, Clark's leadership abilities came easily. She directed traffic, called out screens, and engaged with teams continuously. In defensive rotations, players began to follow her lead when it came to tempo shifts. The younger players were drawn to Clark's vivacity and basketball acumen. Sue Bird was very pleased with Clark's performance. Bird remarked, "She looked terrific," in reference to Clark's comeback. The managing director's compliment was very important. After taking a break from competitive basketball for several months, Bird observed that Clark's rhythm had returned. Coaches pay attention when Bird thinks a player looks fantastic. The responses from the coaching staff made their preference quite evident. When Clark made plays, they grinned. When she made wise choices, they nodded. They had identified their starting point guard based on their body language. "It feels good to be back to 100% at last," Clark said. And her performance fully supported that assertion. What does this mean for a person like Paige Bueckers, then? Bueckers wasn't even present at this camp, but Clark's performance practically clarified who will be in charge of the USA basketball team's future. Bueckers is still attempting to develop herself while coping with her own injury history. After taking 5 months off, Clark recently came back and reminded everyone that the game has levels. People are enthused about the suggested starting lineup that will emerge from camp. Aaliyah Boston at center, Durkika Hamby at power forward, Kalia Copper at small forward, Jackie Young at shooting guard, and Caitlin Clark at point guard. That roster, which is based on Clark's capacity to improve everyone, is capable of competing with anyone in the world. As camp went on, things got more challenging for Angel Reese. Angel Reese can be an asset and a value, one analyst stated plainly. Being a role player, like she should be, rebounding, and being persistent on this team. She isn't a standout player. She just rebounds. That is severe. However, Clark's tempo-focused approach and Reese's playing style don't work well together. In contrast to Clark's emphasis on teamwork, the coaching staff was less enthused with Reese's solo performances. Reese seemed irritated as she watched Clark role practices while she was denied her own chance. Clark's rapport with athletes such as Boston and Cameron Brink demonstrated innate bonds that were impossible for others to imitate. She appeared to have every possibility of securing not only a spot on the squad, but also the starting point guard position. Coach Carl Lawson put it in the best possible words. She hadn't lost a beat and looked good on both sides of the floor. Notwithstanding his absence from competitive action, the head coach praised Clark's concentration and preparedness. Clark's locked-in position for the TW was shown by his remarks. "That's it then." After 5 months away, Caitlin Clark made her comeback to Team USA and reminded everyone why she is the basketball player of the future. Everyone vying for roster spots, even Paige Bueckers, just received a sobering reminder of who is in charge of this operation. Please hit the like button and subscribe if this breakdown excited you, as we will be covering every step of the process.